What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Sandstorm Show. South Carolina will be taking on Virginia Tech in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. 3 o'clock Sunday kickoff. Should be a great one. LSU and Clemson's playing that Saturday night also. Got Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Florida State. This weekend is stacked with amazing games. I'm going to get into some predictions here in a minute, but I want to talk South Carolina a little bit. I want to talk about how their team is set up a little bit. I'm excited for this year. We got some really good players. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about Sellers, Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor, Javon Kilgore. A lot of people are talking about him. I want to highlight some players that aren't getting enough attention, some players that I think are going to break out, some position groups I really like this year for us. First, I want to start with the offensive line. Our offensive line is going to be the best offensive line this year we've had under Shane Beamer, and it might be the best offensive line we've had since Spurrier. I don't know. Muschamp had some decent offensive lines. He did. It's one of the only things I can give him. But I am pretty excited for this offensive line this year. Um, we got Josiah Thompson and Casey Henry. They were two of the most improved players in all of college football from week 1 to week 12 last year. I think they're going to be really good. Tree Babalade, Trevon Baugh, Boaz Stanley, all of them have a lot of experience. Boaz Stanley, not in the SEC experience, but I think that all of them are going to do really good. I really like this offensive line with 3 deep at every position. We average 325 pounds on the offensive line. No, it should be pretty good for us this year. I'm excited for this year's offensive line. I think that it's going to generate a very strong run attack. Our tight ends are really good at run blocking this year. That's something that we didn't do well last year on the tight end side of the ball, or any position really. And I think Faishon is going to take those better blocks than what Rocket Sanders had and do a lot with that. I think that Faishon is going to just have a crazy good year this year. I think he's going to have a really good game against Virginia Tech after just now getting cleared for the game. I'm excited about our running back room in general. I think Oscar Attaway, he's going to have a much better year this year than what he had last year. I think that August Steve, he's going to have a really good year this year. Obviously, Faishon's the main guy, but I do think that we're going to have a 3 running back attack this year that we can call upon multiple guys and use them. I'm interested to see how much August Steve and Attaway play in this Virginia Tech game. Very interested in seeing that. I want to talk about this wide receiver room a little bit. Obviously, everyone knows about Nick Harbor. We all know what Mazeo Bennett did last year. I think Mazeo Bennett will have an even better season this year. And I think Nick Harbor is going to have a crazy good season this year. I could see him potentially going for over, I think Nick Harbor will get over 1,000 yards. I could see him possibly leading college football in receiving yards. I think Sellers is going to throw a lot more this year than what he did last year. And I think our wide receivers are just miles better than what they were last year. Vanquivius Jacobs, I think he is set for a potential breakout season. I think Jared Brown, he's senior last year in football. I really think he's going to have a good year. He brings experience to this wide receiver room. I think he's going to have a better year than people are expecting. Mazeo Bennett, I really think he's going to do good. He might not get the target share he got last year, but I do think he will have more yards at the end of the day. I think he will be better. I think when he gets the ball, he's going to be more dangerous. And I don't know, he probably will get the same amount of target shares because he was a good security blanket at wide receiver for Sellers. You don't look at him and think of him as a security blanket, but that's what he was last year. Outside of, obviously, having Josh Simon. I don't know how I forgot his name. He was our main security blanket, of course. He was our number 1 pass catcher last year. So we got to replace that production. I think Mike Smith and Jordan Dingle, a combination of them, going to do a good job of that. No one's talking about Jordan Dingle in the pass game. Kentucky did not favor throwing to the tight end at all, and Jordan Dingle still wound up with 400 plus passing yards last year, or receiving yards last year. I meant that's not bad numbers for a Kentucky team that didn't throw the ball to the tight ends often. Wasn't a good Kentucky team. He was a run blocking tight end first. It shows that he's pretty good when he does get the ball. He can catch some deep balls. I want to see what we do with the double tight end system. Have both of them out there. I think we can run some really good plays up with that. But I really want to look at these freshman wide receiver. I think Brian Rowe is going to be an instant impact guy. Malik Clark, I think if we didn't have Brian Rowe, I think Malik Clark would be an instant impact guy. Same with Donovan Murph. I think any of those guys could be instant impact from week one. I don't think they're all going to get a huge target share, a huge amount of playing time. I'm curious to see how they handle that, though, because those are some of our best guys. I do think Brian Rowe, I do really think Brian Rowe is going to get a lot of attention in the Virginia Tech game. But I'm interested to see how much the other guys get attention. I don't think Jaden Sellers is going to get much attention. I don't think any of our other wide receivers, maybe Lex Cyrus. Jaden Sellers might come in. He's looked really good, but I don't think they have many plans. Oh, my bad. I don't think they have many plans for them, or for him yet this season. I think Sellers is going to decide to come back to play with his brother next year. But I could be wrong about that. He doesn't seem like someone who's in a rush to get to the NFL yet. He values a lot of things that makes me think he's coming back next year. But yeah, that's what the wide receivers are looking at. I'm really excited about this wide receiver core. But I want to talk a little bit about this defense. So I think our defensive line, is in better shape than what some people think. We're 6 deep at defensive tackle. And the main thing with defensive tackle is last year we had Alex Huntley, an all-SEC defensive tackle, on the bench. That's how good we were at defensive tackle. We were deep, we were top-heavy, we were really good. I mean, we just had stud after stud after stud on that defensive tackle room, on the defensive line in general. DeAndre Jules was good. He was 4th string. He would have been a starter at most other SEC schools. And then Tonka Hemingway, of course, TJ Sanders. We're not getting that type of production back. But I think what we do have, Troy Pikes, Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, Markel Goodwine, maybe Nick Barrett. I think we have a solid foundation right there to do stuff with. So I'm interested to see how much each player plays in the game. I'm assuming Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, if he's healthy, I'm like 90% sure he's healthy. I know he got injured during spring training, but I'm pretty sure he's fully recovered from that. So I'm really interested to see how much each player plays, but I expect it to be the starters being Troy Pikes and Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, with Markel Goodwine kind of being the main substitute there and getting a good bit of playing time is what I'm expecting. And then on the edge, I think Brian Thomas, he is going to be a problem at the pass rusher spot. But he could be anywhere from a liability to a great edge rusher. I think he's going to be not edge rusher, but run defender. I think he's just going to be an average run defender. I think there is a possibility he's a liability in run defense. At least for the type of play that we want. I think our run defense is going to be weak against Virginia Tech. I actually have a hot take about that. I think Virginia Tech rushes for 200 yards against us. I think our run defense gets better throughout the season. I think our defense as a whole gets better throughout the season. We got a really young defense. I do think we hold them under 200 passing yards. I think we might even hold them under 150. I don't think Virginia Tech will be able to pass against us. Our secondary is too good. Our linebackers, young, yes, but they are really talented. I'm very excited to see what they look like in the game. I think they emulate what we had last year very well. I think Jerron Willis kind of can play the Debo Williams role. I think that Fred Jair Johnson, I think he can play the Demetrius Knight role pretty well, and I think that Sean Murphy can play Van Martin Scott's role pretty well. It's just getting them in, getting them some experience, figuring out how quick they develop, how quick they learn. From what I've been hearing, it sounds like the coaching staff is really happy with all three of those guys and thinks that they're developing very well and expect them to be pretty good from the jump, especially Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy has had a really good camp. Fred Jair Johnson, he's had decent amount of playing time. Jerron Willis, he's had a decent amount of playing time. Sean Murphy had some playing time last year at Florida State, but he's a redshirt freshman this year. I'm pretty sure Fred Johnson's a redshirt freshman. I don't think Jerron Willis is a redshirt freshman. I think he's a sophomore. But yeah, our linebacker core, it's not looking bad. I want to see it with my own eyes, though. I really want to see what we got there. So, I find it interesting that we didn't hit the portal harder than we did at linebacker. It shows that Beamer trusts what we have. Same with wide receiver. We didn't get it. I don't think we got anybody in the portal at wide receiver. It shows what Beamer thinks we have. You know, last year I was crying out, we need a corner, go get a corner in the offseason. That was my biggest concern for the team. And he stood true with the guys that he had, trusted who he had, and we didn't need a corner. We did good. Marcelius Dial had a really good year. He stepped up. Judge Coyer broke out, had a really good year. He stepped up as a young guy. I think he was a freshman last year. Javon Kilgore, he moved over to slot corner, and it worked out. I think we're going to see the same thing happen with some of these other position groups. I think we don't need that in corner this year. We went and got Brandon Sisse. We have Miles Norwood, who I don't think is even playing, but he's good. I mean, I think he came from Ball State. I know it was a Group of 5 school. They were worried about how well he would tackle in the SEC, but in that spring game, I don't think he missed a whole tackle all game. He constantly disrupted the run. Faishon broke up the middle multiple times, and he was right there to wrap him up. Faishon kept trying to break off of him. He made good wrap-ups every time. He did a good job tackling in that spring game. He looked really good, and I mean, that's against our starting running back. So, and Miles Norwood is fast. He might be the second fastest player on our team to Nick Harper. He's really fast, so I'd like to see how much he plays, because he's not starting over Judge Coyer, he's not starting over Brandon Cisse, and we got Kilgore at the slot, so I'm interested to see how much he plays. He's probably the next guy up for if we have 3 corners out on the field plus the slot. Like if we're in a big nickel set or a dime set, he's probably the guy that comes out. But we also got a very interesting safety room. We got Peyton Williams looked really good last year. Behind him, we got David Boosie fighting for that starting spot. Kind of like a Nick Emenwari type of build. He used to play linebacker. He's coming in at safety now. A very big safety, very fast, very good run stopper. They're going to sub him in for the run game a lot, from what I'm hearing. And I love that, because I think we need all the help we can get at the run game, or in the run defense. We got DQ Smith. He's been on the team forever now. Not the biggest DQ Smith fan, but I think he's going to have a much better year than he's had in the past. Most of DQ Smith's problems is playbook issues, communication issues. He doesn't have very lateral speed. All that stuff is coachable except the speed. And when he is in the right spot, his speed has never really hurt him. He's a great player. He's had a lot of mistakes, a lot of mess ups. But the amount of experience he has, the ball knowledge he's been in the SEC starting since he was a sophomore. I don't think he started last year, but he played a significant amount of snaps last year. DQ Smith is definitely not a bad safety to have there. He gets better and better every year. And then we got a lot of depth there at the corner. So that's a little bit of a position breakdown for South Carolina. I want to run over the schedule real quick too in this video. So, because I haven't done my preseason schedule prediction or anything yet. This is my first video this year. I've been kind of slow to get this out. I do apologize for that, but I'm going to run through the schedule real quick, and I'm just going to do some key games that I'm looking at. I think Vanderbilt could be a trap game. I'm worried about that Vanderbilt game. I think we lose to Texas A&M, and I think that's our only loss on the season. I think Clemson's going to be really tough. It's at home, though. I think Sellers won't lose to Clemson the whole time he's at South Carolina. LSU, of course, is going to be difficult, but I think that after how that LSU game went last year, I really don't see a way we lose that game. I think Sellers comes back and beats every team that beat us last year. I really think we're going to have that type of a team this year that can go 11-1, make the SEC championship, go very deep. Believe me or not, I didn't make a video on it, but I got our schedule I predicted 9 wins last year. I wanted to say 10, but I felt like we wouldn't get 10. I felt like something wouldn't go our way and we wouldn't get 10. But I really liked our defensive line last year. I expected the offense to be slow starting, but I really liked what Sellers looked like. I didn't like our wide receivers. I liked Nick Harbor, but other than Harbor, I didn't really. But I knew Rocket Sanders was really good. I was excited to get him. I liked our offensive line last year, but knew they needed to develop some. And yeah, it's about how the season panned out. Rocket Sanders, he got 2,200 yards in 2022 with Arkansas. Knew it very well because he got half those yards against us. Arkansas rushed 400 yards that game between him and KJ Jefferson. But I like Rocket Sanders now, though. I've always liked him, but I like him a lot more when he played for South Carolina. But yeah, I did a good job predicting last year. A lot of people thought I was too ambitious last year, saying we were going to win 9 games. But it wound up happening. Should have been 10. So I think 11 games, I don't think that's too ambitious. I'm not going to be upset if we don't get 11 games. I just hope we get 9. If we get less than 9, that's when I'm going to be upset with this year. I don't think we should backtrack from last year. But I think Beamer is the next big thing in college football. I think there's potential for him to become a face coach in college football. I really like Shane Beamer. I like what he's doing. Our strength and conditioning coach, one of the best in the country. Rashul Faison gets here and he gains 18 pounds and doesn't lose anything in his speed. He had one of the highest one of the highest yards after contact rates in his conference. I think it was second highest to Genty last year. And now he's 18 pounds heavier, that much stronger, and hasn't seemed to have lost any speed. He's going to be really good. I've been hearing stuff from camps saying that they think he might be better than Rocket Sanders was, which I was not expecting that when we got him. He was projected to go third round in the NFL draft. I don't think he would have gone third round, but he probably would have gotten drafted. Rocket didn't get drafted, and which I think that's dumb that Rocket Sanders didn't get drafted. He's doing really good in preseason, but he just got waived by the Chargers though and sent to the Browns. Devondre Campbell or I think I said that wrong, but my bad. But yeah, Davlon Campbell, my bad. Davlon Campbell also got waived by the Chargers and picked up by the Panthers, but he's having a really good season. I don't remember the exact number, but I think he got like 148 yards on 18 catches, or on 8 catches, something like that. Really good season for preseason for him. You know, he broke out there at the end of the season for us last year, had a really big game against Clemson, and had some big plays against Illinois. Happy to see some Gamecocks doing good in the NFL. Bear Martin Scott's doing pretty good with the Panthers. So, happy to see that. But I'm trying to think, did I miss any players that I think can break out this year or do really good this year? Oh, I did forget a game to talk about. Missouri will be tough. I think if we lose any games, it's going to be Texas A&M, next Vanderbilt, then Clemson, then Missouri, and then possibly LSU or Alabama. If we lose any games this year, I think those are the games to highlight. Missouri's got a really good run game, but I don't really see much else with Missouri. But I think we're a must-win game for Missouri and vice versa. I think both teams are going to go into that game looking at their schedule and thinking, well, this is going to be the best chance for us to get a win for a while. Not that they'll be looking at the schedule thinking we can't win any games down the line, but just this is our best chance at it for a while. And losing that game can spark a lot of bad momentum for the loser. Both us and Missouri take a very deep or very big turn in the other direction on strength of schedule after that game. We get LSU right after. I think they got Georgia right after, I think. And it gets harder from there. I don't think Oklahoma's that good. I'm not worried about Oklahoma. I think they're one of the more overrated teams in the country. But let's get into some of these predictions. So, just gonna spitball a few of these games. Probably won't get every single game, but Alabama, Florida State. I think it'll be interesting to see what Alabama looks like. I'm interested to see T.Y. Simpson. I think he's gonna be good. I think Alabama's gonna have a strong pass attack in that game. I think it'll be interesting to see how they run the ball. I want to see how good their run game is. I think T.Y. throws for 400 yards. I think Florida State has a very sloppy game. I think they keep it a little interesting, like a little fun to watch, but I don't think they're going to keep the score anywhere near close. I think the final score is going to be 49-17. I think they just have a lot of mistakes. I think Alabama doesn't have many mistakes in that game, has a sound game. Typical Alabama blowout game. Georgia Tech and Colorado. I think that Georgia Tech has a really good team. I think Colorado has a decent team. I like Deion Sanders. I think that the quarterback they got is pretty good. They lost a lot last year. They lost Shiloh. They lost Shador. I think Shador has some issues, but I think he, all in all, was definitely a good quarterback for Colorado. I think he just needs to stop backing up so far when he gets the ball. He's the reason why he gets so many sacks. His offensive line isn't good, but his offensive line is also blocking someone who doesn't know how to hold a pocket. But I think that, all in all, I think Colorado will have a worse team than they had last year. They lost Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, of course, played both sides of the football. That's their biggest loss. They lost Jimmy Horn, I meant. That's Will Shepherd, I'm pretty sure, is gone. So it's going to be really hard for Colorado to bounce back from that. I don't think they beat Georgia Tech. I think Haynes King is really underrated quarterback. I think Georgia Tech makes a play at the ACC this year. I think that they play Clemson in the ACC. I think Clemson gets them in the regular season, but I think they pull the upset off and win the ACC this year. It's a bold prediction, but I also have to see what Clemson looks like against LSU this weekend to confirm that. That's my prediction right now, but I might be changing that after this weekend. Depends on what happens. But I got Georgia Tech winning that game 31-23. I think that's what I said. It might be a little bit different from my Instagram post. I can't remember the exact score that I said, but got them winning 31-23. I really like that Georgia Tech team. Really good defense, really good secondary, good in the trenches. Could be better at wide receiver, but I really like their coaching staff all in all. Tennessee and Syracuse. I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be the better game on at 12 than that Alabama-Florida State game. I think Syracuse pulls off the upset in this game. So I think Syracuse is a better team than a lot of people are saying. I think Tennessee is a worse team than a lot of people are saying. Tennessee lost Dylan Sampson. Syracuse, they don't have Kyle McCord no more, but I think that Kyle McCord was good. I definitely think he was better than the quarterback they have this year. But I think he was a little bit of a system quarterback. I think that their offense is still going to be really good. I think that their coaches are really good. They really did a good job in making this defense better in the offseason. And I think Tennessee just struggles to move the ball as much as they did last year. I think that their offense is going to stall out a little bit. I think they will put points up, but I think their offense will stall out a little bit. Their defense got a little bit worse. I just think they're all around a much worse team than they were last year. And I don't think Syracuse got that much worse. So I think Syracuse pulls off the upset 28-24. I do think it's a good game. But yeah, I don't see Tennessee winning that. I mean, I can see Tennessee winning it, but I don't see Tennessee being that good. I think if Tennessee wins that game, maybe Syracuse is not as good as I thought. I think Tennessee is one of the more overrated teams this year. There's a reason why they fell so far down in the rankings between last year and this year, and it's not just because Nico is gone. Because people weren't really that high on Nico anyways. So, Miami and Notre Dame. I'm not a big Carson Beck fan. I don't think Miami is going to do that good. I think Notre Dame's got an elite secondary, an elite defense in general. I think Miami's defense is a little better than last year, but it wasn't good last year. I think they got a downgrade at quarterback. They lost Xavier Vespero. Their offensive line's a little bit better. I think they'll run the ball pretty good. Not a big Mario Cristobal fan. I really like Marcus Freeman for Notre Dame. I don't see Miami winning this game. I think it could get out of hand, but I don't think it does. I think Notre Dame winds up winning this game 33-24. I think it's going to be. It's going to feel like Notre Dame won by more. I think Notre Dame's not going to... My hot take for the game is Notre Dame is not going to be losing at any point in the game. I think that they win the entire game. I don't think Miami will take a single lead. I think Carson Beck is going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's very turnover prone. I think that it's going to be Miami playing comeback all game. They're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to get stuck having to throw the ball when the run game is going to be really the only thing working. Julian Love is going to run all over that Miami defense. He's the best running back in the country. Notre Dame's going to be able to scheme up a bunch of good screen plays, pass attack. It's like just quick hitting pass plays. They got very shifty wide receivers. I don't think Miami has the defensive set to really deal with that. I think Miami will hold strong in the red zone. I think they might have a good red zone stop at some point, but I don't see them doing that much. Ohio State and Texas. This is one of the big ones. Oh, wait, we got TCU, North Carolina. Let me do TCU, North Carolina first. Not too excited for that game. I wish we had a better game that Monday night. It'll be a good game. I think TCU wins 28-24. I don't have that much to say about that game. It's Bill Belichick's debut. I think TCU just kind of runs the ball a lot. Maybe some short passes. I think it will be a little bit of a defensive game, run the ball game. I think North Carolina's got a decent running game too. I think TCU's just a little bit of a better team. I think this will be a pretty clean football game for a week 1 game. I don't think there's going to be many penalties on either end, especially on North Carolina. I don't think North Carolina's going to win. I'm not a big Bill Belichick at North Carolina guy. I don't think they're going to be that much better because of him. I think they'll be better, but not by much. Just because he brings recruits in with his name. I think TCU's not got a bad team this year, so I think that TCU's probably going to win that. But yeah, on to the good games. Texas and Ohio State. I think the Texas-Ohio State game, I think it's going to be a really good game. I got Texas firing out the gate early on. I think Arch Manning is going to put on a good show to start the season out. I think Texas is going to go up to like a 14-0, 14-3 lead, something like that, and look really good. But I think Texas is going to struggle to run the ball. I know Steve Sarkisian, really good at running the ball usually. I think this is the worst rushing offense Texas has had in a while. I think that they're going to struggle a lot running the ball in this game, and once they realize that they can't push the pile, once they realize they're not going to be able to run all over Ohio State, the pass attack is going to start slowing down more and more throughout the game. I think they're going to start to struggle after those first 2 touchdowns to get in the end zone, and I think Ohio State is just going to swarm that run defense. I think Ohio State in the second half is going to come out a lot better offensively. I think the quarterback is going to start getting used to being in the game. I'm really interested to see how he looks. I think that Ohio State is going to start to have too many weapons for Texas's defense to keep up with. I mean, Ohio State's got a lot of weapons, and it's going to be hard for Texas to really do much on the defensive end once the game gets later on. And I think Ohio State has a comeback victory, 24-17. Really excited for that game. That's how I think that game's gonna go out. I think it'd be a pretty good game if it went that way. But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of a shootout, though. I'd like to see that Ohio State quarterback be better than I expect and just put like 40 points up, and Arch Manning put 40 points up, get into an overtime game. I don't see that happening, though. I could maybe see that happening in the LSU-Clemson game. But I think LSU beats Clemson. I said that earlier. I think that my score for that game is 30-26 is my score for that game. And I think that LSU is going to have a really hard time blocking against that defensive pass rush. They got 4 new offensive linemen from last year. Most of the guys that left are in the NFL. All of them might be in the NFL. I'm not positive, but Will Campbell, that's their biggest loss. I mean, that's huge. Emory Jones, just LSU lost a lot on that offensive line. They lost a lot in general. Clemson's returning all their starters from last year. So Clemson is by far the more experienced team. LSU has been in this week 1 game multiple times. They haven't won one since 2019, but they have been in this challenging week 1 game a lot more than Clemson has. Clemson has a better week 1 record, but they also don't have a great week 1 record when they play a good opponent. And they haven't really looked good in week 1 the past couple of years. They've been sloppy. I mean, they lost that one game to Duke. They lost Georgia a couple of years ago. They don't really always look that good in week 1. And I think Clemson's going to just kind of fumble this one away. I think Klubnik, he's very turnover prone. He's been better about it. Last year he showed a lot of improvement, but I think he gets too aggressive throwing the ball. I think that LSU's defensive line is going to get in on him, make him cause some mistakes. Clemson has not looked good against SEC teams. They just don't. Their offensive line is probably the best it's been in a long time, so it gives them a better chance, but I just don't like Clemson against SEC teams. Their offensive line needs to prove it to me. If they win, I will move them up a bunch in my rankings. If you've seen my top 25 rankings, I have Clemson all the way down at 11th. But I've got, I can't remember how, I think I have LSU at 7 and Clemson at 11. But Clemson is ranked 3rd, I think, in the AP poll. And I think LSU is, I don't know what LSU's ranked in the AP poll, but they're ranked, I think they're ranked 13th. No, they're ranked 12th. They're one rank behind us. No, they're not. That's Illinois. I think they're ranked 13th. I don't know. They might be a little bit higher than that. But I think LSU winds up winning this game. Barryon Brown, I think, is going to torch that Clemson defense. Garrett Nussmeier, he's shown to do really good under pressure. Despite having a really good offensive line, he has been under pressure a lot. Their schedule was tough last year. He faced a lot of defensive lines that were good. And I think Nussmeier is a much better quarterback. I think LSU, is actually going to have a better run game than Clemson. I think whoever can run the ball a little bit better in this game is going to win. I think whoever has the better defense in this game is going to win. And I think that's LSU. I think in both categories, in that specific game, they're going to do better. Klubnik obviously will have more rushing yards than Nussmeier, but I don't think Clemson's run game is that good. I definitely don't think their run defense is that good. I think LSU is going to be able to run the ball pretty easily on Clemson. And I'm excited for this game, especially as a Gamecock fan. I'm really excited to watch Clemson get beat. And if Clemson doesn't get beat, the Tigers still lose. Just not the ones I want to lose. But I don't like LSU either after last year, so I'll be happy either way. Definitely rooting for LSU though. But yeah, no, this game's just going to be really good. I'm excited to see what both teams look like. We got to play both teams. If LSU wins this game and then they go and beat Florida in 2 weeks, which I think they could be one of the one of the only teams that beat Florida this year, they'll probably be ranked number 1 when we play them. And if we can go to Baton Rouge and win that game, we'll be number 1 in the country. So I'm hoping for that to happen. That's it, as long as we don't spoil the bet against Vanderbilt. I'm a little worried about that game. I think we win that game. I think it's A&M that I'm more scared about. But if we do lose one of those first 5 games, I think Vanderbilt is the one we lose. I think that just smells trap game. But on to the Gamecock Virginia Tech game, because that's the game that's on this week. Virginia Tech has a really good run game. They've got a mediocre pass game. They've got a really good run defense and a mediocre pass defense. I really like Virginia Tech's run game. They got a dual threat quarterback. They got a good running back. I could see Virginia Tech running all over our defense. I think our run defense isn't going to be amazing in the start of the season. I think it gets better throughout the season. I think it gets a lot better throughout the season. But to start the year off, I think we're going to struggle. I think Virginia Tech rushes for 200 yards against us. But I think our pass defense is going to be elite in this game. I don't think Virginia Tech will be able to throw the ball. We might hold them under 150. I'm going to say, just to be safe, I think we hold them under 200 passing yards. Now, I think that this might be a little generous, but I think Sellers could throw for 400. I think Faishon's going to rush for a lot. I think Sellers is going to have some big runs. But I think we're going to be really pass heavy in this game. I think Faishon is going to have a crazy good game after him not being cleared eligible. I think he's going to have a crazy good game. But I really think that we're going to pass the ball a lot. I think that this is going to be a more pass heavy game. Virginia Tech has a good run defense, so we're going to want to scheme against that. We got a lot of good pass catchers this year. I think the pass game's going to be a lot better. I expect Sellers to be better at getting through his reads. I think he's going to be a much better passer this year. And I think that we want to prove that. I think we want to go out and set a statement. I think we want to win big, and the way we're going to do that is passing the ball. And I think there might be a few trick plays in that game. Hope they go our way. Don't do anything stupid, Gamecocks. But, yeah, no, I definitely think that we'll pass the ball a lot. I think Sellers could go for over 400. I think Faishon, if he gets the ball enough, I think Faishon could go for over 100 yards. But I'm going to say like 85 for Faishon. But on not that many carries. Because I think we're going to be a lot more pass focused than run focused. No, I think Faishon's going to have a few big screen plays that hit. I think he's going to have some passing yards too. I think he's just ready to get on that field after all that crap with the NCAA. I think he's going to have a big game. So, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the defense, really. I think that we're not going to give up many passing yards. I think Dylan Stewart's going to get a few sacks in. I think Brian Thomas might get a few sacks in. I want to see what the defensive line looks like. I have a lot of questions about this defense. I want to see what the linebackers look like. I'm confident in the secondary. I don't want any mistakes from DQ Smith. He's good, but he makes a lot of mistakes that cause touchdowns. I want to see no mistakes from DQ Smith. So, but I think the turnover margin, I think we'll win the turnover margin. I think that's very important in this game. Time of possession, I think we need to win time of possession. I think if Virginia Tech kills us in time of possession, that could get a little out of hand and a little ugly. I think the way that Virginia Tech wins this game is slow it down, run the ball well, don't get enticed in passing against our secondary, just quick passes, zone reads, option plays, and on defense, just keeping Sellers under pressure and contained and keeping a tight lock on our receivers and not letting Faishon get his yards. Just smothering, and like if their defensive line is just smothering us and their secondary plays tight, they're not going to hold our offense below 28 points, I don't think, in any 24. I don't think in any situation they hold our offense under 24 points, but if they can win the turnover margin, win time of possession, just smother Sellers, maybe force a fumble, get an interception, cause some havoc, maybe a big trick play at some point that gets them a lot of momentum, the game could get out of hand. I don't think that happens, but I do have South Carolina as one of my teams on upset alert. I think we win the game 49-27. So clearly I don't think that we lose. But there is an outcome where it happens, I think. I think that that outcome is there. I think we grind out a close one even if it stays close, though. I think if it winds up staying close, Sellers is going to pull some magic out, break a few tackles, and get in the end zone. But I don't want that to happen. I want us to have a good showing. We need to make a statement that we're here to win. Sellers, when he's hot, he's hot. When he hasn't played in a long time, he's not as hot. I want to see that change. I want him to come out the game ready to be good, ready to be his best. Because we saw last year, he didn't play well on the bye weeks. He didn't play great coming off his injury. He didn't play great in that first game at all, which it's his first game, but still. And he didn't play good in the bowl game. He played better in the second half of the bowl game, but when he sits, he's not as good. And I want to see him come out as good as he's always been. So, that's my week 1 predictions. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. And I'll have another video reacting to the games on Tuesday, because there's a game Monday.